Good afternoon, my friends. This is Paul, and today's episode of ISTJ Info Dumping is brought to you by not one, not two, but three different things. 1, the fan that's above my head that's making a really obnoxious whirring noise. 2, the window that's open that has a whole bunch of cars driving by because I live on a freeway. And 3, my hair, because I actually decided to comb it and pretend to be an extroverted feeler. So maybe I can actually look good in one of my videos. I think I look good in pretty much all of them, but looks are a very subjective thing. I'm not considered conventionally attractive by guy standards, so we'll leave it up to you guys. If you guys think this is a cool style, maybe I'll try to comb my hair more often. My comb is right up there. Maybe I could get on it. I don't know. It all depends on if I feel like it that day or not. Anyway, since we're talking about me actually putting effort into my appearance for a change, that goes into the fact that I think ISTJs are the most underrated type. Now, I get it. It's really hard to appreciate the thinking types because we're so hard and crusty and have no emotions, and therefore we're like a complete stoic rock. Well, that may be true for the inferior feelers, but for those of us that are tertiary feelers, I think we're a lot more emotional than we let on. We're not going to obviously want to make it a contributing factor to every single thing that we do, but I also think our emotion goes into things a lot more than we like to admit, but doing so would end up defeating the purpose of how an ISTJ likes to serve others. You see, unlike the ESTJs and the ENTJs, where they like to be on top of the corporate ladders and talk down on all the insignificant pawns in the workplace, ISTJs are more content with simple in-the-background tasks like sweeping the floor, stocking the shelves at the local drugstore, and we're not necessarily going to want to think about our options. Earlier today, I was asked, what are your plans for the future? I said, let me check my calendar. And I did, and pretty much all of it was like hanging out another week from now, E3, but not a whole lot of concrete, like, oh, I'm going to go to a water park, I'm going to get a job. It was more of just like, doing the same things as I always do. And ISTJs are totally okay with that. I don't know why you intuitive types seem to want to force us to do something that's more strenuous than what we're already doing. Like, if we're happy doing what we're doing and it's not a mortal sin, then don't try to stop us. But I also think that one of the flaws with this mentality of minimalism that ISTJs take is that they also don't get enough credit for their work, and I think that makes us secretly depressed. In the back of my mind, there's a certain amount of me that says, you know what, I would really appreciate it if someone would actually notice the work that I do. A lot of times, the videos I'm the most proud of on my YouTube channel are the ones that hardly anyone watches, and that's totally okay. I get that most people are subscribed to this channel because they want to hear what I have to say about Myers-Briggs. I've sort of accepted that and realized that what started out as a silly little one-off video ended up being the selling point to my entire channel. But sometimes it gets to be a bit much when I'm working for 3 hours on a project and then my data gets deleted, and so then I had to spend another 2 hours getting the project, getting the footage from the TV, and then compiling it together, making sure it actually works, editing it just right, making sure that the lettering is perfectly lined up, 2 views. Now, admittedly, to an ISTJ, we don't view success on YouTube in the same way that other types do. For them, they might say, oh no, I'm only at 1,999 subscribers, I need to hurry up and get 2K. For us, we're happy with just getting 1, because if that 1 subscriber ends up being the most loyal person in the universe, that's success. ISTJs often put their windows of success and expectations really low, so that if that low expectation is met, the ISTJ can be happy. Rather than having lofty goals like the INTJs and INFJs of the world, where they're super determined to broaden their horizons and push forward, ISTJs are okay with pushing forward with what they've always been doing. So when I got my first subscriber to my YouTube channel, honestly, that was pretty much when I said, oh good, my channel is actually a success, because I cannot advertise to save my life, you guys. I bet that a lot of the videos that I've worked so hard on still aren't going to get any more views after this. And that's totally okay. But what isn't okay is when no one, I repeat, no one, notices the work that I do. I think that's where a lot of ISTJs draw the line, is because deep down inside we want some kind of recognition for the little things that get done behind the scenes, especially when the ISTJ decides, hey, you know what? This pint-sized extroverted intuition, let's actually put it to use. Let's make a book. And then no one reads it. Or we don't have the skills to go up to a publisher and say, hi, I have this little manuscript here. Would you care to read it? We're usually so overly critical of ourselves that we tend to think of our works as failures automatically because we're so used to people not really giving a darn about what we do. A lot of times we might go on a major serving spree for the person we love, and they won't even say a word. So a lot of times, one of the things that I like to do, you feeling types might consider this incredibly rude, but one thing that I like to do is when I serve someone who's not particularly known for being the most touchy-feely person in the world, I'll say, you're welcome, as like a way of saying, like, you should have said thank you. That's the polite societal thing to do. But I think the damage is a lot deeper than simply ISTJs wanting affirmation. I think, at the end of the day, ISTJs need that information so that even though it really is all about them at the end of the day, they do stuff because they want to. They do stuff because it makes them feel good. The tertiary introverted feeling is saying, gimme, 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 gimme. I want more. I want my food. I want my comfort. I want what makes me happy. But having other people happy at the same time is good. I wouldn't say we value it as much as the extroverted feelers do, but to a certain extent, people saying, good job, Paul, or you worked for 3 hours on that project and no one saw it, dang, you deserve more attention. That's the kind of stuff that I think we need to hear so that we don't think, am I only serving myself? Am I being so selfish that I'm only thinking about my needs and not thinking about anyone else's? If we have that affirmation, then not only have we proven that we can think about others and we're not just a bunch of selfish pricks that all we care about is preserving our status, but we're also, I guess, developing that very, 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 very non-existent extroverted feeling, which is, of course, crucial if you're an ISTJ and a Catholic, because it's really important for us to really develop a sense of charity and compassion and sympathy and cognitive empathy and all those lovely terms. So you might be wondering, okay, Paul, what if I have an ISTJ in my life that I do thank, and I do think he's successful and creative and talented? What am I still doing wrong? I think what might be the problem if the ISTJ is still feeling underappreciated is that the affirmations that you do give him, they don't come across as very honest. You see, one thing that I've noticed with a lot of the inferior feelers is that they tend to criticize a lot of people if that person can't keep up with their superior knowledge and logical reasoning. But their criticisms aren't typically very constructive. They're more of just flat out rude. Like they'll say, you are so insignificant that you are like an ant beneath my foot that I can crush. And it's like, how does that even work? Like, obviously, most people who are fully grown are like within relative range of each other's height. So obviously comparing yourself to an ant is not really realistic. If the person on the other hand said, well, it seems that you're lacking a college degree, so obviously you don't have the amount of classes that I have taken, and I'm more certified to be smarter than you in this area. That would be the kind of criticism an ISTJ would like to take. So if you say something along the lines of, oh my gosh, Paul, that project you made is like the best thing ever, I'll say, no, that's not the best thing ever. God is the best thing ever. It doesn't make sense for you to put such a superlative adjective here. Rather, make it accurate. Say, wow, Paul, I think the editing was really well. It wasn't perfect, but I think you managed to do a pretty spectacular job overall. That way you keep your affirmations grounded in the literal and the concrete so that the ISTJ doesn't get confused and say what? Why are you talking gibberish when you're just trying to say thank you? Just say thank you. So as a result, specificity really helps an ISTJ feel good because not only are you affirming the work that often goes unnoticed because ISTJs tend to creep behind the scenes, but it also gives the ISTJ honest feedback that gives them the courage to keep doing what they're already doing because you're telling them that their specific pursuit, going into the introverted sensing and the introverted feeling there, is worth pursuing, even if you're the only one that appreciates it. And you may be the only one that appreciates it, but to an ISTJ, that's really all they care about. Not having extroverted feeling anywhere in their function stack, and being introverts, obviously they're going to care more about their very small, select circle of friends or acquaintances. So let's say that you're the only friend the ISTJ has, but you love the work the ISTJ does. To them, that's success. They don't need 10,000 subscribers. They just need one subscriber that'll be loyal to them and won't end up abandoning them and leaving them on the street to die. So just be honest. Let the ISTJ know when they're doing a good job. Let them know when they're doing a bad job. They may not take it the best, but they'll take it a whole lot better than if you just ignore it and say, well, I don't want to hurt the ISTJ's feelings, so I'll just not say anything and hope that they get the message. If I can't give you intuitives any other piece of advice for inferior intuition, it's ISTJs don't fill in the blanks. And if they do, they tend to over-exaggerate it. So please show us the criticisms. Hit the dislike button if you have to, but let us know in some way what's going on. Actually, let me take that back. Don't hit the dislike button, but rather explain what the person did wrong. And this doesn't just apply to YouTube, this applies to everything. If the person cut the grass lousily, tell them where they missed a spot, give them the scissors, and give them feedback for how to not do it wrong the next time. ISTJs are one of the best types out there, period, for learning from their mistakes. Generally speaking, it's pretty hard for them to make the same mistake twice. So if you're very specific, and don't act like Byakuya Togami, I think you're in for a great time, and the ISTJ will really appreciate it. They might not necessarily know how to put it in words, but one way or another, you're going to make them feel better, and if they can't express it to you in this lifetime, they will in the next. So with that, thank you very much for watching. Let me know in the comment section how terribly I did, and until the next time, keep the faith, stay epic, God bless, and you're welcome. Bye!